Boker Tov, Shavua Tov. Today's daf is Daf Lamed Gimel in Gitin. So we learn again for a fourth shlema for Elazar ben Ruma and Yosef Israel ben Chaim Michal. It says more from the two dots about 10 lines down on Daf Lamed Gimel Baral. The Mishnah had said very important things. Take a look back at the Mishnah on yesterday's daf. We covered it on Friday also, that even though a person, after sending his get, if his wife did not receive it yet, he could void it. He can rescind the get and say, I take it back, I retract it, I'm not sending you anymore, don't deliver it. If he tells the shlichim, don't deliver it. If he tells the wife, I cancel the shlichus, even though the messenger is on the way, I canceling it, he can do that. But Rabbi Gamliel made a takana not to do that. In other words, if you, I should say, yes, not to do, not to tell. You could tell the shlichim, you could tell them to come back. You could tell the wife it's batal. But if they're not around, if you want to just go and tell a bezdin or tell two other people, listen, I know those guys are on the way, I'm canceling it. Now they don't know about it, right? They didn't have a cell phone. The wife doesn't know about it. So Rabbi Gamliel said, don't do that. In other words, originally the Mishnah said at the end of the Mishnah, originally they used to set up a bezdin, in a machlokes more where the bezdin could be 2 people or 3 people, but you could just set up a bezdin and say, look, you know what? I sent those guys, I take it back. I'm not divorcing her. They don't know, the shliach doesn't know about it. The wife doesn't know that you canceled it, and that could lead to problems, as we'll see. So Gamliel said, don't do that. It's Gamliel shaloyayus can make tikkun olam, because you can have problems if that comes up. Now, what kind of problems are we talking about? That's what today's Gemara starts to deal with. When they tikkun olam, what's the tikkun olam? So the obvious one is Rabbi Yochanan says. Rabbi Yochanan said, they karas mamzerim. Very simple. The husband sends a shliach with a get, right? He gives a get in front of 2 people, 2 witnesses, and says, I'm sending this guy as a shliach, and this guy takes a get, and he goes on his way to the wife. He's on the road, no contact with him. The next day, the husband changes his mind. He tells a court here, I cancel it. They don't know about it. They're going to give her the get, right? She's going to think she's divorced. Give it there in front of 2 witnesses, right? In front of 2 witnesses. He did it here. Let's assume he gave it to a shliach. Let's say that was also in front of 2 witnesses. He gives it to her in front of 2 witnesses. He gives it to the shliach in front of 2 witnesses, and there the shliach gives it to the woman in front of 2 witnesses, unbeknownst to them that the husband had canceled it. So what's going to happen? She's going to get remarried based on that. The bezdin over there, wherever they are, not in communication. They say, yes, she was divorced. She's going to get remarried. Really, she's still a married woman. And then she's going to get remarried and have mamzerim for the second marriage. So Rabbi Yochanan says, therefore Rabbi Yochanan says, that's why Rabbi Gamliel, right, his Rabbi Gamliel, Azak and Shloyos, don't do that. Don't do that anymore. If you can, yes, you can go back and tell the shlichim themselves, I retract, I'm changing my mind, I'm canceling your shlichus. Tell the wife before she receives the get, you're not divorced. But if you get it, ignore it. I took it back. But if you tell somebody else, 2 other Adam or a bezdin here, they don't know about it, you're going to have mamzerim. That's what Rabbi Yochanan says. Rish Lakish said, make tekas agunas. No, I'll tell you what's going to happen. She'll know about it. The problem is going to be that she's going to be good. He's over there in New York. She's in Israel, let's say, the example we gave. He's in New York, she's in Israel. And he says, she's going to find out that he canceled the get. He's not going to bother schlepping her to Israel to give her a get now. She'll be in Iguna, meaning the husband's over there. She wants to get free me from this marriage. No, she's going to be in Iguna. How Gemara now explains it. Rabbi Yochanan, they take we're about 12 lines down on the page, 12, 13 lines. When he cancels it, again, he sent off the get with the shliach to her in Israel. And now the next day he changed his mind. And he cancels it in front of 2 people. It's canceled. It's a bezdin. It's a simple bezdin. For that, it's good enough of a bezdin because you're not. There's no majority over here that have to decide anything. Cancels it in front of these 2 people. But if just 2 people hear about it, there's a rule that the news doesn't get around so quickly. People won't hear about it. She didn't know that he canceled. She's not going to know about it. She's going to get remarried. That's Rabbi Yochanan's shita. In other words, the reason why you can't take the original, Rabbi Gamliel said that if you cancel, the fact is that if you cancel a get after you sent it, but before she received it, it's canceled. Rabbi Yochanan said, don't do that. without telling the shlichim or telling the woman, because she's going to be married based on that. She'll have Zerim. She won't know that you canceled it. Why? Because he said that you can cancel in front of two people, the word won't get around. But he said it's not because of that reason. It won't be a mamzerim. There's a different reason. Why? He always like Rav Sheshes, something like Rav Sheshes done for the Gimel. We had this on yesterday's daf, that when he cancels it, according to the original takana, that they used to go in front of a bezdin locally without the wife or the shliach knowing about it and canceling it, he goes, that bezdin has to be three people. Beit klasa is l'kala. People will know about it. Meaning, you're not going to worry that she's going to get remarried based on that, because even if he didn't tell her directly that he's canceling it, or he didn't tell the shlichim, but if he cancels it in front of a bezdin of three, word will get around. Word will get around. Travelers think word will get around, and she'll know that he canceled it. V'shama, she'll hear that he canceled the get. She was waiting for her get so she can get remarried. She'll hear about v'yada below mitzvah, and she's not going to be able to get married with tekanos gunas u'deika. With the aveiros tekanos ugas. Why? That's rechina leilach achrav. She'll what? That's rechina leilach achrav ol shliach. He's not going to bother and she'll just be an aguna. He's not going to bother telling the shliach or telling the woman. She'll hear about it. That's leilach achrav, right? Ol shliach. He's not going to bother. In other words, by us telling her, the reason why we said that Rav Gamliel said don't do that, right? His Gamliel shelo yaosin kain, don't do it here, don't cancel it here, because this way, you're going to have an iguna, right? The first one is Hivika, but he says Takana Sirosika says Rashi that's Rechena leilech achrav, right? Ol shloach shliach. He's not going to bother with all that. In other words, now what are you going to do? If he cancels it here, and you say that you're not allowed to do that, you can't cancel in front of a bezdin. So what's going to happen? You're going to say you have to send a shliach after her. Send a shliach to, he'll have to go himself to tell the shliach to cancel it, or send shliach. He's not going to bother and all that, and therefore she's going to be an iguna. So therefore he said, that's what he said, by telling him it's going to be a shalayosin came, they take an olam, is the iguna aspect. But right. So it'd be an exorcist, but she'll know about it. According to Rav Sheshes, she'll know about it. She just won't be able to get remarried. She'll be an iguna because he's in a different location. According to Rav Yochanan, the concern is that she won't know that he canceled the get. She won't know, and she'll get remarried based on that. They'll be mamzera. That's the question. So Rav Gamliel said, don't do that. Don't do that. Right? Again, originally, a man would send a get, and he didn't bother sending a shliach after if he retracted. He just set up a court over here. He told two guys or three guys, I'm canceling it, and the shliach may not know about it, and nor will the woman know about it. She might get remarried. And the concern is mamzerim. What happens if he does it anyway? Rabbi Yochanan said again. The last line of mission was his. What's the tikkun olam? Don't do it because of tikkun olam. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, makes more sense because she won't know about it. She'll get remarried and have mamzerim. According to Rav Sheshes, it's less of a concern. Not going to be mamzerim, but she'll be an iguna. In other words, don't do that. Don't set up a court here. And shows that mimnei tikkun olam. This is a little bit hard to understand. Rav Sheshes says mimnei tikkun olam, because of tikkun olam, because in other words, if you tell him you have to make sure you know what if you set up a court over here and she'll find out about it, but she'll find out that she's not really divorced, right? That's the concern over here, and she'll be an iguna. That's the concern over here. That this is therefore we said you can't do that. He might be like, if you tell me he's got to go after her and divorce her, you got to go all the way there. You can't do it in front of a court of here. Maybe he won't bother, and she'll be an iguna. So the tikkun olam is a little bit hard to understand according to Rav Sheshes, because Rav Gamliel, as I can say, you shouldn't do that. Tikkun olam, you shouldn't do that. Why? Because she'll be an iguna. So therefore, what should you do? You should send somebody, if you want to cancel it, go tell her before the shliach gets there, or let the shliach know. But he won't do that according to Rashi. A little bit hard to understand. Okay, says the Gemara now. Tan Rabbanan, Bitlamut. Let's say he does it anyway. Gamliel Zaken said, don't do it in front of a court here. Let's assume Rabbi Yochanan's idea, right? That Rabbi Yochanan says the concern is that she won't know that you divorced, that he canceled. She'll think she's divorced, and she'll get remarried, and she's really an Ashes ish. So she'll be divorced, and she'll have mamzerim. So what happens if he does it anyway? Rabbi Meir says, don't do that. Don't divorce her without a court. Either, if you want to change your mind, you better go tell her before she receives the get. You got to go tell her or tell the shliach before it happens. You can't do it in a court here because she won't know what you did, and she'll wind up having mamzerim. Let's say you did it anyway. You were mavatlet. You did it anyway. So Rebbe says it's batal. You're not supposed to, but if you did, it's done. Shmuel says no, you can't be mavatlet. And as Shmuel Zaka made a takana that it doesn't work. You can't be mavatlet, and you can't change any conditions in the get either. In other words, you can't stand here after you sent the shliach there to divorce her and say, I'm not going to bother running after them. I'm just going to change the conditions right now. I'll announce to a court that I cancel the get, or I change the conditions that I set in the get. He says, you can't do that. You can't do that. What's the point of Bezin? Leo Zakin set up a Bezin and said, you know what? You can't do that because you'll have problems. If you divorce her without her knowing about it or without telling you directly, you're going to have problems. Otherwise, so once we make that rule that you can't do that, it doesn't work. In other words, he goes to after he sent the get on the road. He said to two people, "I cancel it." Does it work or not? Reuel says you shouldn't do that. So Rebbe says, "Well, it works. You did cancel it. You're not divorcing her. You did cancel it. That means that she's really divorced." Shmuel says, "No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We made a takana, it doesn't work." So the Gemara says, "I understand. Can you have something? Medaraisa batal get. The Medaraisa gets batal." He said, "I don't want to get the get. She's not divorced yet. She didn't receive the get yet. She didn't receive it. Her shliach didn't receive it yet. But she received it. If she received it after he canceled it, it's too late, right? So the point is, he's canceling it here. Rav Shmuel says no. That his Shmuel that it doesn't. You shouldn't do that. Don't cancel it here because let's say according to Rabbi Yochanan, you'll have mamzerim. Don't cancel it here without her knowing about it. Let's say he did cancel it. So Rabbi says, well, if he canceled it, it's canceled. Anyway, you're not supposed to. You're a bad boy. You cancel it. Rabbi Shmuel says, no, it doesn't work. But Rabbi Shmuel says it does. You shouldn't do that. If you should do it, it shouldn't work. So the Gemara is going to Rabbi Shmuel understand. Shmuel, make a meeting to Midaraisa about the Midaraisa, the gets batal because he said it's batal. She didn't receive the get yet. He can batal it. He can void it. Because you're concerned about the koch of Bezdin that you're going to weaken the power of Bezdin. If they made it to Kani, you don't listen to it. Sharin Neshishlam, understand. This woman, if he canceled the get, what does that mean? She's not divorced. And you're saying, well, no, you can't cancel it that way. And because of that, she's going to get remarried. So you're going to be mater to get married. You're going to be mater Neshish to marry somebody else who have mamzerim. Right? So because of Makoch Bezdin, because this idea of Makoch Bezdin Yafa, you're going to allow her to get remarried. Even though she's still a married woman, because he canceled the get. Says, Ain, you could do that. Why? Because called the Mekadosh, the Rabbanim Mekadosh. When we get married, we say, Harem Mekadosh Li Kadas Moshe Yisrael. I'm doing it according to the conditions of the rabbis, like Moshe Yisrael, like the religion of Moshe, so the way the laws of Moshe Yisrael. And they said, and the Rabbanim said, if you're such a bad boy, you sent the get, and after you sent it, without, unbeknownst to her and to the shliach, you cancel it over here in front of two other people. You're a bad boy, and we're going to take away the homage. We're going to annul the marriage. So you're never married. Because you say over here, he canceled the get. How could you say the get's not canceled? He canceled it. I'll tell you how it works. Because if you're a bad boy and you do that kind of thing, you cancel it not in front of her without her knowing about it. The rabbi said your marriage is annulled. Okay, that's right. That's a bad way to punish her. Punish her for what? What did she do? No. She's got to get remarried. She wanted out of the marriage. Well, we don't know what happened. It doesn't necessarily. You're making up a story. She wanted out of the marriage. Maybe he wanted out of the marriage. Maybe he's just divorcing her. But she is. Pardon? She'll lose her. If what? If the okay. She was never married. Right. So she'd rather lose a ksuba and not have a kid who's a mamzer. Now, also we don't know that they went that far. You might say, either way. But we're talking about where she got remarried. In other words, he cancels the get. That means that she's not divorced. She's really married, and we say here she's going to get married to somebody else. So how can you say no? The Shmuel says, well, if you do that, it doesn't work. You can't cancel it, but it is canceled. Minotaur is canceled because of an idea. Well, the rabbi, because of Makoch Bezin Yafa, because you're going to take away the power of Bezin, you're going to let her get remarried, even though she married. Yes, the answer is yeah. The rabbis annul such a marriage. I'm going to be a Rav Ashi, the friends who says tennis, because that's fine if she got married with money. In other words, like with a ring or money. So the rabbis could say Hefker Bezin Hefker. The money is not, even though he said it ekadeshly, it doesn't work. The first marriage, there's only one marriage. There's only one marriage. The real marriage is the second marriage is really znus, right? Because his marriage is canceled, and therefore the kids from the second marriage is not a mamzer because he's not really married. It's a strange thing, right? So that's fine if you married her with money. So you could say Kiddush B'Bia Michael name, but you can Kaddish Isha with Kesef Shtar Bia. Right? Kesef Shtar Bia. We don't do it. It's priests to do it. Bisman Azed, the rabbis discourage being the Kaddish with Bia. But if you Kaddish with Bia, how can they cancel that? The answer Shavir Baron Bilasa Bila Snus. They made the Bia that he did for marriage a Bila of Snus. And also all the other Bilas that he did with her over the years would also be Bilas Snus. That's what's strange. So now we're going to see later on some machlokas. How do we pass him? Do we pass him like Rebbe or like Shimon Gamliel? Is it batal? If he canceled, is it canceled or not? Shimon says it's not canceled because of Makov Bezin Yafa. So the Gemara said, the famous said Makov Bezin Yafa, because of that, you're going to let her get remarried, even though he canceled the get. So she's still married to husband number one, right? So how do you say, no, the canceling doesn't work, and the canceling doesn't work, and therefore she's still married, but she thinks she's not married. She thinks she got a get. You're going to mount to Leish's Lama. So the Gemara says, okay, you're annul the marriage away. Tosfos goes through a whole thing, and we're trying to have a great discussion over here about this whole concept of Afkinul Levan and Kedushin, annul the wedding, annul the original wedding. If that's the case, all mamzer can be the tahar. Why? You could say anybody's a mamzer. You could say this: if somebody had a mamzer, very simple solution. What you do is you give her a get, you send her a get, and you cancel it. And what do we say if you cancel it? If you cancel it, you're a bad boy because you didn't listen to Rav Gamliel, and because of that, you annul the marriage and you get rid of them. So the Mefarshim all ask this kasha, and he brings down here Shlomo Zalman Auerbach had a question or a real case. This case happened where there were Adam that a man died, and she allowed his wife to get remarried. Then after based on Adis, and then afterwards, after she got married, she had children. Turned out that he was still alive. The Adam were wrong. Whatever happened, and therefore she has to leave both marriages because it's husband was alive. You can't argue with the fact that her husband showed up. He showed up. Whatever the Adis was, there's no such thing as countering somebody's here. Your husband showed up. So what do you do in a case like that? Is there a pitaron? He says, I'll tell you, I'll give about a condition. In other words, the husband showed up in order to be nice to his wife and not make the kids mamzerim. And so I'll tell you what, give her a get, send her a get with a shliach, cancel it, not in front of the shliach, like this, cancel, send it after you send him away, cancel it. And in that case, we said, so his first marriage was never a real marriage. And therefore, the kids from the second marriage are not a mamzerim. The shaila came up, a real shaila came up, and the rabbis discussed that. And there was machlokas, can you do this or not? And Shlomo Zalman said, even though there were those who were mater, there are too many issues over here. Because even though we say and therefore they would still be Suffolk mamzerim, it would still be it's a drabana. In other words, it's a question, is it really or not? Even after they take the kedushin, it's not really totally removed. It's like and therefore they said, Shlomo Kluger said also, others they didn't at least it's mamzer rabbanan. You have to be concerned that these kids cannot really marry Jewish people. Also, when doing that, it turns out that not only you're making his marriage like if he married her b'bia, make that a bilasnus. Forget about that. Even if he married her with money, with a ring, right? And Rashi over here goes into all the issue to show that some say it's some rabbis who said that if he married her with a ring, it's only Kiddush Rabbanan. That's not true at all because it's learned out of Gzeir Shava, Kesef, and therefore so it's Gzeir Shava, and Gzeir Shava is Torah, right? It says that's Mamish Gzeir Shava Gufa Torah, says Rashi. So this you say that it marry only because Shishabala, right? So it's Gzeir Shava, it's a Doraisa. Therefore, you can't say that's a Rabbanim, but so here it's really a marriage Rabbanim. Also, it could be very well that we paskin but lo mevutal, as we'll see on Amid Beis, that Rav Nachman holds, but it is mevutal. In other words, you don't say that Koch Bas and Yafa and Afkin Lamar Kedushin. We say it actually is batal, and therefore there is no reason necessarily to say Afkin Lamar Kedushin. The whole thing only applies to Kotrab Shemim. And others say that that it's not a general idea. It could be it's a general idea that the rabbis would take away the marriage. In other words, if you went against the rabbis, that they pick as a general rule, but in a specific case, to be matter in this case where this unfortunate thing happened, that a woman got remarried based on testimony that her husband died, and then he showed up, you can't necessarily apply it in an individual case. The Gemara just didn't give koach to the rabbis that pass in that way in an individual case. Otherwise, it would be very easy to just annul every marriage, right? There are cases where the rabbis even today annul a marriage if it wasn't consummated and there were issues and things like that, that they annul a marriage. Pardon? Yeah, like a mekachtos, but you have to. That would be right. It could be a mekachtos where they approve. Let's say the husband for some reason can't consummate it physically. He can't consummate the marriage. It would be a mekachtos, and maybe they would annul the marriage. So in other words, she can marry a Kohen now. She can marry a Kohen, right? Because if she wasn't the Zona, and and she wasn't really divorced, she can marry a Kohen. A Kohen, there's no rule.
Fine. What would happen if the first marriage had kids? There would be a second set of problems.
Yeah, right. Those kids are born out of wedlock. In other words, you're going according to the Svara that the Rabbanu were mafkia the kedusha, and there was no marriage. The kids are born out of wedlock, but they're not mamzerim. They're simply it's a pagam. It's a family taint. And again, that's a good point. Maybe we'd be reluctant to do that because, like I mentioned, one of the reasons not to be able to do that is because you're making all the be'ilos that he did.
Be'ilos,
right? Yeah. And another thing is that the kids would be out of marriage if they were kids from first marriage. Okay, let's assume there weren't kids and talking about a case. It's a very complicated issue, and therefore the rabbis had discussions about that. It wouldn't necessarily apply, but it gets a big issue. You can say that in many cases it's a way for imams to be matar, but the rabbis wouldn't allow it if that was your purpose originally, just to try to get out of the marriage. Here they did it, and it's just so together. Or they said that it could be that they weren't really mafkia the kedusha. They just said, if you do that, we'll be mafkia the kedusha. In other words, if you do that, it's like a threat. If you do it, they would be mafkia the kedusha. Therefore, the idea was that don't do it. And what koach do we give? That we're threatening you that if you marry, if you cancel the get, not in front of the wife or the shlichim that you sent, we're going to be mafkia your kedusha. It's more of a threat. So these are the issues that come up over here. Okay, but back to our issue, does it help or not? If you're mavatlet, Rebbe says it is batal. In other words, even though they said, Rav Meir said, don't do that because you'll have problems. According to Belchani, according to Rav Sheshet, it's more just an issue, or Rish Lakish rather, that it's just an issue of an iguna. It's also an issue though. It says that so, but Rebbe says that if you cancel it, it is canceled, and Rav Shmuel says it's not canceled. Yeah.
Sort of a quick question. Right? Then we ask the question, what if it's not with money? The assumption of the question is that the whole power of the Bezdin
is Hefker Bezdin Hefker.
Is Hefker Bezdin.
Right.
But then they give another answer.
Right.
And it seems like it's something else.
No, it's just, if it's money, the Hefker Bezdin Hefker Bezdin is for Hefker. Kiddush Bia, they could just say that, they said it's not a marriage. They know that, and therefore.
So Yisrael, and
that's right.
The first question assumes that their whole power is money.
Right.
The second one says they have other powers.
They have other powers also. They could just say that because you say, Moshe Yisrael. If Moshe Yisrael don't agree to this, to what I've done, because if I violated something, then it's not.
Then you don't need the
right. So in Achanami, that's Kedas Moshe Yisrael. We're just putting into effect the Kedas Moshe Yisrael. We're calling it in. In other words, when you get married, you're getting married on condition that you follow the rules, so to speak. You don't follow the rules, so we're going to get another marriage. But that's a very loose thing because you can say if you don't follow the rules, right? Yeah, exactly. And that's all powerful. You could say if either of you commit adultery, that's not Moshe Yisrael. So you're going to no marriage then too. It's a very open thing. Tan Rabbanim at the two dots, 5 lines from the bottom of the page. Tan Rabbanim. I'm gonna sorry kids forget. Like now we have here another machlokas between Rebbe and Rav Shimon Gamliel. The first machlokas was if he canceled it anyway, not in front of the shliach or in front of the woman, right? Canceled it separately in a bedroom where she didn't hear about it. Is it batal? Rebbe says it is batal. And Rav Shimon says no. That's the whole person of the takana. Now let's say he told 10 people, kids forget ishti. The rule is if he didn't say all of you, he just said there were 10 guys there. Hey guys, write a get for my wife and give it to her. So one of the 10 writes it, and 2 of them have to be edis. You don't need all 10 people there. Kids forget like ishti. Now, let's say he changed his mind. He told 10 people, listen carefully, he told 10 people, write a get and give it to my wife. And then he changed his mind. Okay, he writes that can he mevatel it? Now we're not talking about being mevatel it in front of a bezdin that they weren't there like you sent us there. But those 10 guys, can you cancel some of them without the others being there? So Rebbe says you can cancel. Now what's going to happen? You batel zevshel fnezeh. If you're batel, let's say you told number 1, 2, and 3, I changed my mind. Well, number 4 through 10, they carry it out. Is that a problem? Rebbe says no. Go ahead and do it. Shmuel says if you told 10 people, you can't batel unless they're all there. Now, what's the idea? What's machlokas? Here's a question: if part of the edus is batel, if you canceled some of the edus of the altar, that's how he passed and said. If you canceled part of the edus, it's not a batel. So, for example, let's say 100 people saw a murder take place, and 2 of them can't testify because they were the brother of the murderer or something like that, the brothers of the murderer. So it's not all batel, just because it's batel, because some of them are batel doesn't mean all of them are batel, right? We go very carefully at a wedding or something. We say to you or the aid to make sure the other guys are puzzle, don't ruin it. But that's question. Everybody says is not batel kula. Meaning, so if I told 10 people here, the husband tells 10 people write a get in the price, and he cancels 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 4 through 10 are still valid. He canceled these guys. The other age of mitzasa is not batul kula. The other guys go 4 through 10 go hanach b'yachli, and they give her get lichtalis. They can go as a cost if they write it the other and give it lichtalis. Let them give it and give it. There's no problem. In other words, there's no concern. What's the concern? That if you cancel some of them, so what? So you cancel 1, 2, and 3. 4 through 10 are valid. And if they give it the get, he didn't cancel that, so he's divorced. No problem. No. If he canceled 1, 2, and 3, it's all batel. Now, if he only canceled 1, 2, and 3 in front of this, and 4 through 10 don't know about it, they are going to give her a get. Think about it. They're going to give her a get. Is she really divorced? No, because he canceled all of them. When he canceled 3 of them, canceled part of it, he canceled all of them. They don't know that he canceled them. They're going to go ahead and do it. 4 through 10 don't know about it. That's a real problem. You're going to be matresh ish, right? That's what he says. This is a different machlokes between Rebbe and Shmuel, right? Not the machlokes in our Mishnah. If you're mavatel anywhere, the question is if you told even if Shmuel holds like Rebbe, then it's not batel, and the 4 through 10 are valid. But what's the problem? It's not that you shouldn't do it. You know, what's Shmuel is concerned about? That if you do here in front of them, you're concerned about the same thing of Rav Gamliel. And Gamliel says, don't do that because they won't know about it. You'll have mamzerim, right? That's what we're assuming over here. Rebbe says it's not a problem because she is divorced. 4 through 10 can go and give her the get. So 4 through 10 give her the get. It's a valid get. There's no problem. Yeah. Shmuel says no. The whole Adis is batel, and the 4 through 10 won't know about it. They'll give her a get, and she's really still married. So the problem is like the takana, the concern of the takana of Gamliel. The boy Sami says no. Everybody holds that it's no. 4 through 10 can still give it a get. For if something was done in front of 10 people, you need 10 people to retract also. In other words, you have to cancel it also with the 10 people. So the concern over here, Rav Shmuel says that you shouldn't do that. Shmuel says. What did Rebbe say? Rebbe says, Shmuel says, you can only do it unless you can only cancel it for all 10. Not because he holds that the other 4 wouldn't be valid. He says the reason is it's not really 4 through 10 not batel. The reason he says this is he holds a different thing. That if you told 10 people to do it, you don't have the ability to cancel 1 through 3. You can only cancel if you cancel in front of all of them. You understand? In the case, the truth is, if you cancel one, Rebbe says if you cancel 1 through 3, fine. So 4 through 10 could carry out the get. According to this reason, everybody says that it's not bottle. 4 through 10 would still be there, but simply you're not empowered to cancel. If you told 10 people to do it, you're not empowered to cancel it unless you canceled it in front of all of them. So what he's saying over here is, see, according to Rebbe, if you canceled 1 through 3, okay, so you cancel 1 through 3. 4 through 10 can carry it out, and then no problem. Let her give it the get. There's no concern. You could do it. You can cancel 1 through 3. Shmuel says, no. If you cancel 1 through 3, that doesn't work. You can't cancel unless you canceled all of them, and therefore, even 1 through 3 could give her the get now. It's menakatza lekatza. According to Rebbe, 1 through 3, you cancel them, right? Cancel them. The other ones aren't canceled, right? Lo batel kula. 4 through 10 are valid. According to this, Shmuel saying, you're not canceling. We're not concerned that you'll be a mamzer that they weren't authorized. Just the opposite. If you cancel 1 through 3, it doesn't work. You can't cancel 1 through 3. Since you told 10 people to do it, you can only cancel in front of all of them. If you didn't do it in front of all of them, nobody's canceled. It doesn't work. Not that not that there's a concern that she's going to get a get and she's not really divorced. That right? She's not really divorced because according to the first opinion, Shmuel says the whole latest is bottled. You're going to give her get. She's not really divorced. You're going to mount her Ashes Ishlam. According to this, no. None of them are canceled. It doesn't work. Not because of concern about the kana, like that maybe somebody will be the imams or no. It doesn't work at all. If you told 10 people to do something, you can't tell 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them, I'm changing my mind. They all have to be there at the same time. What happens if he said kulchem? If he said all of you, now when he said all of you give her the get. That means all of you have to sign. All of you have to sign. One could write, all of you sign. Kochem, Mao. Tam Shimla is the reason, like we said, the first one, if you cancel part of it, you cancel 1 through 3, they're all canceled. And then the problem is what? That 4 through 10 won't hear about it. They'll give her the get, and she's really not divorced because you cancel the whole thing. Mahani, but over here in this case, they can't do it. In other words, if he said all of you, what was the concern before in the first idea? Shmuel said that the concern is if you cancel 1 through 3, they're all canceled. They're all canceled. But what? And we're afraid that 4 through 10 will give her the get because they didn't hear about it. But over here, when he said kulchem, all of you, they won't give it. 4 through 10 won't do it because he said all of you. So if they don't, all of you aren't all there, that's not right. They won't be able to do it. Here they know they can't do it. 4 through 10 can't go and do it because he said call all of you. And since 1 through 3 were canceled, they won't sign. So it's not a concern. Again, if the reason is because of Eidah Shabbat Mitzvah Shabbat Kula and you're afraid that 4 through 10 will give it, over here when he said Kulchem, they won't give it because 4 through 10 know that they can't give it the get unless all of them sign. And then there's no problem. Dilma, time like the second reason. Not because it would be a mamzer and they're giving a get and she's not really divorced because he canceled the no. The reason simply is if you told 10 people to do it, they all have to pay. Anything that's done in front of 10 people, you need 10 people. So if he said all of you, so 1 to 3 does it, and then he only told 1 to 3, it also wouldn't work, right? Because he said kulchem also, but he said kulchem, whether he told all of them, it doesn't work. So the question is, what's his reasoning? What's Shmuel's reason? Is it because you're worried about Eidah, because Eidah Shabbat Mitzvah Kula, or no? Eidah Shabbat Mitzvah lo batel kula, and 4 to 10 to do it. But over here, there's no concern that they're going to do it without 1 through 3 because he said kulchem. Or is it simply because if you told 1 through 3, that's not good enough because anything you do in front of 10 people, you got to cancel in front of 10 people. So if you only told 1 through 3, it's not a cancellation at all. Even 1 through 3 can now sign it. So we're going to try to prove it here. Tashma Amal Shnayim. Let's say he told 2 people. Now he told 2 people. 2 people is like I told all of you because we told 2 people. You need both of them to sign. Amal Shnayim Tum gets alishti. Yachal Avatas. Rebbe says if you told 2 people to do it, you're mavatal one of them. Also, it's not a concern. You can mavatal one without the other because the other guy can't do it without you. So you canceled it. It's canceled. Shmuel says ein yachal avatal elzef and say can only do it together. You can only do it if they're both together. But Shnayim b'chei it's like Nami Upligin still argues there anyway. So in other words, if he told 2 of them, there's no concern if he can't. There's no concern about the one guy's going to go and give the get and she's not really divorced because he canceled it. because one guy can't give a get by himself. You need two people to be aiding there. And still he says he can't do it. It's mash, but the reason is because if you told 2 people or 10 people or 20 people to do something, they all have to partake. Otherwise, you can't cancel it in front of a partial amount of the people that you told. If you told 2 people, you have to cancel in front of both. You told 5, you told 10, 15, whatever it was, you got to cancel in front of all of them. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And here, apparently, Shmuel says because he's ein yochel levatel. So the chavashnayim bekuchuchim bepligi. Rashi, no. If you're talking about Adam who have to write it, meaning write it and sign it, doesn't mean only one. You can't have 10 people write it. One person writes it, the other people sign. If you're talking about the sign signatures, hachanami, you're right. It would work. Maybe Rav Shmuel would be moda. That if you told 2 people to sign it, and then you cancel in front of one, it's a good cancellation because there's no concern about mamzera because one guy can't go by himself and do it. Here we're talking about where he told 2 people, hey, would you guys be the messengers and take this get to my wife? Here's the get, it's already signed, right? Here's the get, it's signed, everything. You have to give it to her. 2 people, you have to take it, right? And he canceled it, that's the concern. That's why he said, the Tani say, in other words, and Adis, and over here we're not, and Shlicha Shabbat Mitzvah is Batal Kula. The truth is that Adis Shabbat Mitzvah is not Batal Kula. It's not really Batal at all. But the concern over here is what? The concern over here is it's not really batal, but if you told 2 people to do something and you cancel one of them, the other guy can't do it anyway because he's only one person. So there's no concern. Here, and as it could very well be that Rabbi Shmuel says, right? When Shmuel says is like kulchem, and still he argues it's mashma. The truth is no. Maybe he would hold that if it would be Adis. Maybe you would agree that you could cancel. Like the first bit, the reason is because that you might have a takala if the other Adam go and cancel, even though you can't give her the get, even though you cancel it. And here, where this one person is like kulcha, there's only 2 people, and you cancel one of them, the other guy can't give the get by itself. There's no concern about it. He would agree with Rebbe that you could be mevatel not without both of them being there. The concern over here is where he told 2 of them to just be messengers. You guys take this get, and then he canceled one of them. And there, Shlich Shabbat Mitzvah is Batal Kula. And that's why you shouldn't do it. It says there, let's say he told one person, then he told another person to do it. Then he could be in Batal. If we're talking about Rav Shapiro, he told 2 people, listen, you take the get, you take this get to my wife, and he told another guy take the get, then you couldn't be Batal with the other. Why? Because then, if you cancel one of them, the other guy could take it. Not a problem. So I don't want you to take it. I only want the other guy to take it. We're talking about Iksiva, Mimet Starfik, can you add 2 people together? When it comes to Adis, both have to see the Adis or hear the Adis. In this case, it's hearing, giving the, we were consigned to take the get to the wife, they have to hear it at the same time. So he can't be speaking. So how can you say if he told one the name said and told the other one that it's valid? And you can mevat, it's good, and he can also mevat himself. How could he do it if it's Adis? They have to hear it together. No, they don't care Bishua and Karcha. Maybe they'll like Bishua Karcha. That's Bishua, the son of Rabbi Akiva, who holds that you could Adis, they don't have to see it or hear it at the same time. They could do it at 2 different times. So there's no proof from there, but still that's as valid an answer. We're speaking about halacha. And if you told, in other words, if I told one person to take the get, and then I told another person separately take the get, I could cancel one without canceling the other. But if I told 2 people, you guys, would you take this get to her? And then I canceled one of them, it's canceled. They're both canceled. Because Shliach Shabbat Mitzvah is Batal Kula. Even though Eidah Shabbat Mitzvah, we said it's not Batal Kula. What's the halacha? Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, Shamus Meid Rabab. I heard from Rabbi Tati. I heard 2 things. He passed into halachas. Chadak Rebbe, Chadak Reb Shmuel. We've had 2 machlokas in here between Rebbe and Shmuel today. One is, if you cancel the get in front of a bezin here without letting the shliach and the wife know about it, is it batal or not? Rebbe said it is batal mavutal, right? Shmuel says no, it's not there. Otherwise, what's the power of bezin? Bezin said don't do that. And if you say if it works, what's the power of bezin? So one case, that's the machlokes from Shmuel, and then we had another machlokes at the bottom of an aleph of what if you told 10 people to give a get to the wife, can you be vatal? And then you're vatal number 1, 2, and 3. Right? Is that okay? You could. Rabbi says it's okay because 4 through 10 can give the get. Shmuel says you can't be mevatel either because you're concerned about a mamzer, because he holds that Eish Batal Mitzvah is Batal Kula, so you cancel the whole thing, and this guy, the 4 through 10 are going to give her the get, or because it doesn't work because you have to tell in front of them. So there's 2 machloks in Rabbi Shmuel. What's the halacha? So we have in the Gemara, Shmuel Bar Yida Shmas made Rav Abed. I heard from Abba two halachas. One like Rebbe, Charav Shmuel. I don't know which one he passes like Rebbe, which one Shmuel. We have two machlokasin. In one he passes like Rebbe, one he passes from Shmuel. I don't know which one's it. Rabbi Yosef. Let's analyze it ourselves. Dapim came from Eretz Yisrael. Or Ma'asav also Rebbe Kidir Chacham. He did like the Chum. Where the Chum there? There the Chum say that there was a case where Bezdin had to make an assessment. And they made a mistake in the assessment. So if an individual makes a mistake in an assessment, so if it's more than shtus, if it's like considered an fraudulent, you go back on the deal. But over here, since Bezdin made the mistake, do you go back on it or not? So the Chum says Rashi 5 months from down the page. He went like the Chachamim who said that the deal's off. If they made a mistake, the deal is off. Then they made a mistake. If the Bezdin made a mistake in an assessment, the deal is off. So Parta, listen to this. They talk about naming after grandfathers. Parta Benosha Rav Parta, right? Parta, the son of Rav Elazar ben Parta, he was named after his grandfather. Ben Benosha Parta Gadol, who was named after a further grandfather, right? He was named after a further grandfather. Im came out with Bez Yafa. What's the point of Bezdin? If Bezdin is not empowered to do something, even if Bezdin makes a mistake, but if they have no power, what's the point of it's meaningless. They're like there's no power to the court any more than individual guardians. V'chazer Rebbe, and Rebbe therefore retracted his opinion. And he said that the Bezdin has the power to do it. Since he holds when it comes to the concept of Makoch Bezdin Yaf, he goes like Shmuel. So obviously he holds like Shmuel that you use the words of Makoch Bezdin does something. You have to follow that, and therefore we're assuming now that he passed like Shmuel in our Gemara that if you mavatal it, it doesn't work, and then we have the question if it doesn't work, your mavatal it doesn't work, but the shliach is going to give her the get, and she's going to get married. And Mamzerim Minotaur, it's really batal. So what are you going to do about that? Minotaur is batal. He said no. Afkin Rabbanan Kedushin. We had that whole discussion, right? That Rebbe holds if you mavatal it, it's batal, and therefore she's really still married, right? It's batal. Shmuel says, no, you can't be batal it, and therefore it's a valid get, even though Minotaur the get's canceled. Okay, so we had that whole discussion. So since he goes like Shmuel in that case, when it comes to Makoch Bezdin Yafa, therefore it must be that in the second case, on the bottom of an aleph, if you told 10 people to do it, can you batal, let's say 1 to 3 without 4 to 10 being there? Yes, you can. That goes like Rebbe. Since the first case goes like Shmuel, that's what he says. Since we hold like Shmuel when it comes to Makoch Bezdin Yafa, therefore the other case goes like Rebbe. Okay, because he said one case goes like Rebbe, one case goes like Shmuel. Rav Yoshia, the Minusha, Rav Yoshia also suffered Chadik Rebbe. He also holds one like Rebbe and Shmuel. Why? Dom Rav Archana. Chamisha Savi Habin and Kamed Rav Yoshia the Minusha. There were 5 elders at Rav Yoshia ben Minusha's base medrash. Also, a man came. There was a man came who was forced to divorce his wife because whatever he stunk or he did something bad or the rabbis encouraged him to divorce his wife. And they made him give a get to his wife against his will. I mean, he didn't want to do it, but they forced him to do it. So he agreed. And then Amar Lahu, he told, and Yoshia Menusha told the Adam, Zilu Atmur, go hide. Go hide now. After you saw him give the get, go hide now. Itmuro, because in other words, Zilu Atmur, because right, give it the get, but then hide immediately afterwards, right? So after you do it, go hide and then write it. Why? So he shouldn't be able to cancel. He's like the Rebbe
protection.
Yeah. In other words, he shouldn't be able to cancel it. Rebbe goes like Rebbe commit. So what happens? They hide. He could still do it in front of somebody else. Rebbe holds what? Batlu mavuto, right? That even though Rabbi Leah says don't be mavatal in a bezdin here without them knowing about it, it works anyway. What's the point of hiding him? From Shmuel, you can only cancel it in front of them, right? You can't do this without behind their backs. So if Isaac Rebbe committed my hobby, so since Elish Mamina, since it's hiding, he holds like Shmuel when it comes to what? When it comes to can you divorce her without not in front of the shlichim? Can you cancel the get not in front of the shlichim, not in front of the isha? He holds like Shmuel spiritually. If he owes like the second case of Shmuel, in the bottom case where he told 10 people, can you cancel some in front of, can you cancel some without the others? If he owes like Shmuel there, what's the point of hiding? Live through all you have to do is separate. In other words, he said you can't cancel some. Shmuel holds in the bottom case, right? You told 10 people, you can't cancel 1 to 3 without 4 to 10 being there. If he held like Shmuel, so he doesn't tell him go hide yourself, you can just say separate. You guys sign it and then don't be at the same place. So he can't cancel you without the other one being there. You don't have to, Elamai must be that there he holds like Rebbe. Elishmami no, Chadik Rebbe, Chadik Shmuel. In the first case, he holds like Shmuel, that what? That if you're Mabatal it in front of the bezin, it doesn't work. And we have to come on to that whole discussion and it doesn't work, and it's still a valid get. How you Mabatal the Chara is, Minotaur, it is a valid get. And the answer is we said at the end of Gushmine. That's from Shmuel. And the second case goes like Rebbe. In the case of the bottom, that if you told 10 people to give a get, if you didn't say Kulchem, told 10 people to give a get, and you cancel 1 to 3, it's okay, 4 to 10 can give a get. But Rava, that's the opinion of Rabbi Lazar Menusha, of Rabbi Yeshua Menusha, and Rabbi Lazar ben Parta, right? Or the case of what? Who said Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yehuda said, I heard from Rabbi Abba, these two halachas, right? I heard these two halachas. One like Shmuel, one like Rebbe. But Ravam are 3 lines from the bottom. Basic Ravam says no. He says the name of Nachman, who's the later postik in Israel, who's the postik in Babel rather. Halacha Rebbe b'shten. Halacha is like Rebbe in both cases. That even though they said don't cancel it, not in front of them. If you did it, it's canceled. Halacha Rebbe b'shten. Says Gemara, but let's sort of Nachman Makov Bes Yafa. Doesn't Rebbe hold of this? Does Nachman hold of this concept of Makov Bes Yafa? If you say that Rebbe, you pass like Rebbe in the first case that we started with, in the middle of Amar Aleph, that Bachman Butla, even though Rebbe Gamliel said, don't do that. If you sent the Adam and you want to cancel the shliach, you better go find the shliach or find the wife before she gets the get. You can't cancel it in front of them. Rebbe says if you did it though, it's still batal because you're batal to get. You canceled the get before she received it. So what about Makov Meziyah? But Bezin said don't do that. So doesn't Rav Nachman hold of that? Rav Shmuel at the top now of Lamed Aleph. Yisom Shabo Lachlik Minesivim. Let's say Yisom, a bunch of children. You have a bunch of minor children. Their father died, and you have to divide up his assets. So how do you do it fairly? Bezin sets up an apitrupas for each one of them, a guardian for each one. If you have an apitrupas for each one, like a lawyer for each one, you assume that it'll be pretty safe. In other words, each one will get the fair share because he has an advocate. Each one has his own advocate. But once they get bar mitzvah, they could say, wait a minute, I'm not happy with the service that I got from that guardian, and I want to go back on the deal and let's divide it up again. Rav Nachman Day says, says no. Once if Bezin set up a guardian for them, you have to go with that. Once they get older, they can't change their mind. They can't contest it and say protest and appeal the case. What was the point of Bezdin setting up a guardian for each one if they could change their mind later on? So here you see Nachman does hold Makov Bezdin Yafa. So here, Michael, we come full circle. Hassam Mamona. Rav Nachman Taka says what? There it's only when it comes to money, yeah. Then we give the power of Makov Bezdin Yafa. Hachi Surah. Oh, here we talk about Eishes Ish. And Rashi says, here it comes the Surah. Right? Hachi Surah. The Eishes Ish. Mishum Makov Bezdin Yafa. Lafkin Rabban the Kedushin. The Rabban are not going to take away the Kedushin of Makov Bezdin Yafa if Minat Torah she's an Eishes Ish. Meaning, again, what is Rebbe's opinion? That Ramliel said in our Mishnah, don't cancel it in front of a court here when the Edom are on the way, the Shlichim are on the way, and they're going to testify, give her the get and all that, and she's not going to know about it. That's what Ramliel said. Okay, if you're a bad boy and you don't listen to Ramliel, you cancel it anyway. Rebbe says, yeah, it's still a divorce. Still a divorce. What about Makok Bezdin Yafa? Bezdin said not to do that. Yeah, but because of that, we're not going to take away Kedushin. We're not going to take away the Kedushin and say, you should really, the get is a good get, right? Rabbi says really the get is not valid because he canceled it. If he canceled it, you're not going to uproot her whole Kedushin and annul her Kedushin. He canceled the get, so she's still married. That's it. Makov Bezdin Yafa. That's good for money matters. For money matters, we'll say if Bezdin made a mistake, that's fine. Bezdin made a mistake with an allocation or assessment, we let it go. Bezdin set up guardians. They got a different lawyer. One guy got Friedman. One guy got Azulai, and he wasn't happy with his representation. Too bad. That's the problem with the courts. The courts have the power to do that. When it comes to money matters, they're empowered. When it comes to issues, he's an ish, and the get is canceled, Minat Torah, we're not going to know the marriage based on that. So according to Rav Nachman, we talk to Paskin like Rebbe in both cases. And if you involve it, it's bottle, and we're not going to there's no afkanatush. The whole discussion of afkanatush is in a weird case according to Shimon Leo, but according to Rebbe, it doesn't work out anyway. All right, have a good day. We'll pick up tomorrow. Don't forget tomorrow. The next Rosh Chodesh.
Beautiful. Thank you.